Welcome to the Business of Hearing podcast, the #1 marketing and practice growth podcast for high-performing private practice hearing care leaders. It's Friday, and this is my end-of-week roundup of what's top of mind after 7 days of helping some of the world's best private practices to attract high-quality patients, fight the evil forces of manufacturer-owned chains, and be impossible to compete with. My name's Ollie Luke. Pull up a chair, pour yourself a drink, and let's have a chat. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business of Hearing podcast. And today I want to talk about probably the biggest challenge that most practices have, that when they solve it, everything else becomes significantly easier. Now, if we back up, right, if we look at Business Startup 101, like the first thing that every new business is told, is educated on, really it's get really, really good at something so that you can turn it into a business, or find a gap in the market and then develop something to fill it. Now, that's pretty much how every business starts, right? Somebody becomes very good at the work they do and go, I'm going to do this on my own and move away from the employment side. Or I've seen that cats don't have many hats. Let's make a hats for cats business. And they spot a gap in the market. Now, what is interesting with that is they develop the product and service first, and then they go, okay, now who's the market for this? And we as hearing care practices kind of do the same, right? We go, all right, I want to do hearing care. I've got my products and service, the blend and hybrid of products and service. And then from there, what we never really do is who's our market. We never really get clarity or specificity on who we actually want to serve. We just develop the product and open our doors and go, anybody needs this, we're here. And then it's no surprise that we deal with the wild west of people, right? We have people who come who are absolutely baffled that this doesn't cost $100. And then we have some people come who you want that patient to be cloned multiple times because they're a dream. They just want to pay you. They value you, etc. And if we go back to this kind of Business Startup 101 of develop products and service and find market, here's my encouragement to you. And the big puzzle that solves everything else is please flip that the other way. What I implore you to do is, rather than start with what you do or why you do it, start with who you do it for. Because I think the more specificity you can get on who is the market I want to serve, and then how do I define the product and service in order to be the perfect fit for that market, the sharper and easier everything else becomes. Because I want to put that puzzle to you right now. Who are your patients? Who do you want to serve? And the way I look at this is you've almost got to Venn diagram it, right? I think there's 3 areas that you need an answer to that question. Number 1 is who is financially worth the most money to you? What are the types of patients that for the work you do, for minimal effort, maximum profit is essentially what we're looking for. Who sits into that market? Market 2 is who are the patients that you get the most enjoyment from working with? Who are the ones that really fill your heart, make you super happy, make you finish the day at the end of the day feeling so rewarded, so happy, and feeling like you live the best life ever? And then that 3rd category is probably who are the patients that you just know you're uniquely qualified to serve better than anybody else? Now, what I would hope, if this is perfect, is the answer to all 3 of them is kind of the same people. And if we lay this out on a Venn diagram, right in that sweet spot is the same type of patient. Like that will be amazing, job done, utopia. The likelihood is you'll probably have slightly different answers for each of them. The ones that are worth the most to you may be different to the ones that fill your heart, which may be different to the ones that you're uniquely qualified to help. And then my encouragement would be, what is the type of practice that you want to build? Is the goal to maximize profit and get an exit in a few years? Because if so, focus on the patients that are worth the most money to you. Do you want to play the long game? Do you want to love this, and this becomes a big part of what makes you feel awesome day to day because you're doing something that you love? Then probably focus on the patients that fill your heart with as much happiness as possible. And if you love just feeling like you do amazing work, and that's the big fat part, you want to write white papers and be the specialist and be the expert, and I won't call it the ego play, but the play that we all want to feel like we're amazing at what we do, then focus on the group that you are uniquely qualified. But like, you've got to get specificity on the types of patients that you want, because once you do that, everything else becomes a lot simpler from a marketing, branding position and everything else. Because once you know these are the patients that I want to serve, then you can look like the practice that has been built to serve them. And if you look like the business that is a logical choice for them, you create what I call category of one positioning. Because right now you take that patient that you want, when they go and look at the market, there's a huge diverse range of options. And what they're looking for is who's the type of practice that best aligns to who I am, what I want, my unique challenges and puzzles that I'm facing that I want a solution towards. And when you know that's your market and you can build the message, the brand, the website, and the way that you carry yourselves to say that we help people like them to achieve the outcomes they're looking for. And especially if you develop the evidence to say, here's the evidence that we help many people like them already to achieve those outcomes, like you create something that makes it very easy for those people to gravitate towards you, and nobody else becomes an option for them. It fixes the confusion around marketing of saying, who are we? Who are we for? It becomes very clear and specific. And if you zoom out of hearing care for a moment and look at nearly every other industry, the most profitable businesses in the world understand this. Because if you break any industry, and we'll go through a few examples, but every industry in the world breaks into three categories. You have mass markets, you have niche markets, and you have the luxury market. Now, the mass market is the 80% of people. It's the people, let's say, the Joe Blogs. It's the everyday guy who has a normal job, lives a normal life, who makes a financial decision based on what is convenient, best cost, best value, etc. You then have niche market. These are the people that fundamentally have a strong interest in something that will result in them spending more in order to achieve a certain outcome aligned to who they see themselves as a character. So this could be that they love fitness, and as a result, like they would join a Facebook group about fitness, they would read a book about it, they walk around wearing Gymshark swag and all the branded goods because they are so keen that that is part of their character. And then you have the luxury market, the 1%, where status is everything to them. They want to buy it to show other people that they can afford it. And that's really where every market splits. And that can be obvious things like a watch. How you can buy a watch for $20 on Amazon that will sit on your wrist, tell you the time. That's the mass market option. It's does the job. It's low cost. It's going to last for a long time. That is the logical option for the mass market. Yeah, in the niche market, if you're really into fitness, and we'll use that as the example, then you'd spend a few $100s on a watch that will track your steps, track your sleep, and all that fun stuff. And if you're in the luxury market, you would happily spend $40,000 to wear a Rolex that fundamentally tells you the time, doesn't achieve any other purpose, but tells you the time. But it shows other people that you can afford a Rolex that plays towards the status that you are so keen and thirsty for in that 1%. Now, that's an obvious example. You can take it down to like chocolate bars. Like you can buy a standard chocolate bar for $1 that Taste of Chocolate is a bar, does the exact job of addressing your sweet tooth. If you wanted 20 grams of protein added into that chocolate bar because you need to hit protein targets, and we'll use the gym analogy again in the gym example, then you can spend a few dollars, $3, $4, $5 for a protein bar that is nutritionally very similar apart from a little bit of protein added in. Or if you're in that luxury market where status is important, you can spend $500 for chocolate that comes in a wooden box that has a story behind it. It exists. Like every market breaks into that, and the mass market is not making much profit, right? They're working on tiny, tiny, tiny margins. Yet the niche market and luxury market are the ones that can sell for significantly more because they know who they're trying to serve. There's no way that chocolate brand that sells $500 chocolate for let's create a chocolate bar, then decide who the market is. They went, we want to build something for these rich people who will spend significant amount of money because status is important to them. And then they build the product to say, well, let's not put it in a little clear wrapper. Let's put it in a wooden box that's felt padded and make it really, really fancy because that's what that market wants. And this is like the whole big puzzle. Get specificity on who are the types of patients that you want. And then everything else becomes significantly easier. You can build the product and service, build the shop front, build the experience, messaging, so key to say we help people like them to achieve the outcomes we're looking for. It becomes a lot easier. Now, that is the puzzle that if you solve it, everything becomes easier. And traditionally, that was a difficult puzzle to do because the market was much smaller. But with the boomers now taking the market from 20 million people over the age of 70 up to what's going to be 70 million people over the age of 70 in the US, the market is widening. And that boomer generation has significant amounts of wealth, want to do their research and due diligence before making a buying decision, and want to find somebody that meets preferences like theirs. So the market is changing significantly. Own your lane in the market. Don't try and fight with everybody else, because we've got the likes of Apple, big box manufacturer-owned chains in the market that have every competitive advantage they could possibly have over somebody like you. You need to own your lane in the market that they can't touch, because you're going to be beautifully positioned to be the only option for the types of patients that you want. But that's what I would implore you to do with confidence. Feels scary, right? To say no to people, to say yes to people, but know that this isn't a case as an existing business that you've got to shut down your business today and only say yes to these right types of people. You're always running two businesses. The one you're running today and the one that you're building, they can both be different. So start building what you're positioning for the future. Doesn't mean that all your existing patients on the old approach are going to disappear, but you're going to transition that in the right way. So food for thought. But I'd say big puzzle right now, get really clear. Get really clear on who are your patients and double down on it. Everything becomes significantly easier from there. But appreciate you joining me. Appreciate you borrowing me your ears. As always with these podcasts, podcasts are really difficult to grow. I'll be super honest and transparent with you. It's not like many other things that you can put advertising behind or try and get listed in all these areas. The main way podcasts grow is from listeners telling other people about it. And that's the way this podcast has grown. It's people like you listening to this, finding it valuable, telling a colleague, telling a friend, posting it on LinkedIn, posting it on a Facebook group. And I've got a strong belief that a rising tide lifts all boats. And as privately owned practices right now, where I feel there's a huge gulf of information around actually running a more successful practice, I hope this is helpful. And if it is, I encourage you to consider who you should share this with, share this episode with, and recommend that they follow in your footsteps and come and listen to these podcasts, subscribe to these podcasts. And if you don't know any friends, then just give me a like and a comment, just my own ego. That'd be really helpful as well. But hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully it was helpful. And I'll be back again next week with another episode. And there we have it. Another episode has come to an end. And I have a quick favor to ask. If you have found this helpful, then who do you know who should listen to this podcast? I strongly believe a rising tide lifts all boats, and right now, private practice needs to stick together to fight these big, gormless groups and these manufacturer-owned Goliaths that are looking to take market share from us. Consider who should be listening, pass on the word about the Business of Hearing podcast, and I'll see you again next week.